I think one brand which sticks out in my mind, which has endured over the years, it has stayed relevant because it has always touched upon the right mini tales and the subplots, is James Bond. Okay, because James Bond has been around for 70 odd years. It's been played by 6 different people. It's been spanning about nearly 30 films now. What's interesting is while the primary idea of James Bond, I think, still is, let's say, the ultimate male fantasy, at a certain level, it's that. It has nuanced itself very well across the years. And you can see that in terms of, firstly, who were the villains in the earlier James Bond films and who are the villains now. So in the earlier James Bond films, it was always implied the Russians were villains, though it was eventually a Specter or some other organization like that. But these days, the threat of terrorism is much more. That's how their stories have changed. The second is the role of women in James Bond. And none symbolizes this more than M. Now, 20 years, 30 years back, to think that Bond would take orders from a woman was, if you see the earlier Sean Connery movies, they are made in a certain tone. So it's very difficult to even see Bond answering to a woman in that era. But with Pierce Brosnan coming in and M being Judi Dench, it shows a complete shift in not just, I think, Bond, but in the way the world began accepting women at higher positions of power in business and across other human endeavors. Mm-hmm. And I think she played it absolutely brilliantly. And she always was in control of Bond at all points in time. Even the way they have nuanced Moneypenny, who at one point in time was, just that you always had that moment where either a Sean Connery or a Roger Moore would flirt back and forth with Moneypenny, and it was nothing more than that. But in the later Daniel Craig movies, what you see is that she is a far stronger person. She knows what she wants in life. And she's not somebody who can be, casually played with, or while she flirts, it's a very equal relation between her and Bond. And the one more interesting aspect that I find in Bond is the way the role of Q has changed. Again, reflective of the changing time, because across most of the eras, Q was an older man, and age and white hair meant wisdom. But the new Q is a young guy. And it's very reflective of the startup culture which is going across the world, where people who are in their teens and 20s are starting up massive companies, right? So Bond, while it stayed somewhere true to its overarching narrative, found stories which always were reflective of changing times. And stories need not necessarily mean major plot lines. They would mean smaller relationship and culture referencing stories like the ones I have mentioned. So I think this is one brand that has done brilliantly in terms of storytelling across time.